All right, it's Wednesday's math session on lesson 16. And from your book, we're talking about rounding whole numbers and estimating. And that's a great skill to have. It's a very important skill to have because I would venture to say most of the math that you will do as a big kid, an adult, will be estimating, rounding off. Um, it's just, when we're coming up with exact numbers, we might calculate them on our calculator on our phone or things like that, or going through your bank statements. But when you're in a drive through and you're trying to figure out how much cash you got and what you're going to spend on a blizzard, you're estimating. So let's look at a couple things. First of all, here's a little warm up we can do. Start with 1, add 2, multiply by 3, subtract 4, then divide by 5. What's the answer? If you said 1, you got it right. Now your brain's going. All right. Remember, when we're estimating, we're going to the nearest number that ends with a 0. But that's indicated by, do we say we are estimating or rounding off to the nearest 10 or to the nearest 100? In this case, to the nearest 10, 667 is closer to 670 than it is 660, so we would round that to 670. If we're looking at the two 100s, and I said, which one are we going to round to if we go to the nearest 100? Well, it's closer to this one than it is to that one, or that one. So we'd round it off to 700. And remember, if we're ever debating which one to go to, we just ask ourselves that magical question: is it 5 or above? So if we're going to the nearest 10, I got to look immediately to my right. Is this number 5 or above? And if it is, we go up. If it is not, we go down and give it a 0. So if it is, we go up and we say 670 and add the 0. If, oh boy, this is looking ugly. If it was 5 or below, if it's below 5, if it's not 5 or above, we would say just replace it with a 0 and keep it as is. So is it 5 or above? We go up, add a 0. If it's not 5 or above, we keep it and just add the 0. Hopefully that makes it a little more clearer than my marker. Example 1 says round this number, 6,789, to the nearest 1,000. So we look here, there's my 1,000. I look to the right. Is it 5 or above? The answer is yes. So I change that. I'll put it above. Up 1 from the 6 and fill in with zeros. If it wasn't, if it was 6,399, I said I'm going to the nearest 1,000, I look to my right, 5 or above, no. So you just keep and add zeros. Keep the 6 and make the rest of them zeros. Okay? If we're estimating, that's where you're using rounding to calculate something. If I said, example 3 says, estimate the sum, that'd be adding, of 467 and 312. Okay, so we know it's sum, so we know we're adding. So here, since we're asking to estimate these, we would take it to its furthest place value and round them off to the nearest 100. If you're told to estimate, just round it off to the nearest one of the furthest left, so in this case the hundreds column, unless you're told something different. So 467 is going to be 500 because I looked to my right and this was 5 or above, so we changed it to a 5 and added zeros. And then I looked at this one and I looked to the right. Was it 5 or above? No. So I kept it as a 3 and, oops, and made 300. So my estimated answer would be 800. Example 4 says if you're going to a store, who is it, Stephanie here, she's got a $10 bill. Oops. And she's wondering, do I have enough? And she has, and she also has a couple quarters with it too, just to pad that a little bit. She needs to buy milk for $2.29. She's gonna get cereal for $4.78. She's gonna get orange juice for $2.42. And we're gonna round these off to the nearest dollar. So 2, I look to my right, is it 5 or above? Nope. So that's $2. 4, I look to my right, 5 or above? Yep. So we change that to a 5 and add zeros. So that's $5. Here, look to the right, 5 or above? Nope. So that gets rounded back down to 2. So overall, I got 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 total. Now we rounded down, or sorry, we rounded down twice, so it's probably going to be a little bit more than $9 in the back of my head. But I have $10 plus a couple quarters, so technically I probably have $10.50. So if I have $10.50 and my estimation comes to 9, I'm thinking, yeah, I probably have enough money for that one. Okay? Now, if we go back to the book, I'm on page 84 now. We're looking at this graph, and we're getting questions about Ashton, whatever town that is, and its population growth from 1970 to 2000. 1970, its population 80, 90, 2000. So it's steadily going up. You're looking in between, so that'd be about 3,000. That's at 4,000. Estimated about 5,000. Estimated here at about 7,000. And there's several questions you can answer with that, and there's ones you're going to answer down here. If I go through this practice set with you, see if you can say the answer before I do. Okay, let's go down the left side. Numbers to the nearest 10. 57 gets switched to 60. So if you beat me to it, good job. Round this to the nearest 100. 282 would go to 300. Round each of these numbers to the nearest 1,000. You got 4,387. Does it round up or does it stay at 4,000? It stays at 4,000. Now here, if I'm going to estimate the answer, I'm going to change this to 400. Beat me to it. This one to 200 with a total of 600. Now we're going to estimate and multiply. Round this one to 30. This one to 30. 30 times 30, well, I just go 3 times 3 is 9. Add the zeros back on, 900. Okay, and you can also do some of that work here too. What I'd like you to do is to come up with the answers to C, F, I, K, M, N, and O. Now, the way you're going to do that is I want you to pause the video right now, come up with those answers, and then continue watching, and I'll give you the answers after you unpause it. Ready? So pause. Okay, now your answers here for C is 50, F is 400, I is 7,000, K is 100, M is 20, N is 1,000 fewer people, and O is 9,000 fewer people. If you got any of those wrong, take another look at those. Make sure you ask me if you have any questions. So today, just do the odds on lesson 16, and there is no early finishers, but there is a problem solving, and that's right here. Find the next 4 numbers in this sequence. So, right there, page 85 is where your lesson 16 starts. All right, good luck.